Hey everyone. Hello. Welcome to episode 20 of Home Studio Show and Tell. Siobhan, our host, is stuck in traffic. She may join us in a little bit from now. Tonight we have two really, really spectacular voice actors on. One I know quite well. One guy I don't really know that well, but I know his work. I've heard his work. I've seen his studio in a bunch of times, and I'm excited to have him on and learn more about him. Tonight we have Moose and Eli on. I am going to, my name is David Goldberg. I am the CEO of Edge Studio. And I'd love to get both Moose and Eli to tell us just a little bit about themselves and what they do in the world of voiceover. Guys, keep it super short, like a 1-minute intro here. We want to get to your studios as soon as we can, but just give us a bit of background. Moose, tell us just a little bit about you and voiceover and the kind of work you do, where we can hear you. I mean, you're all over the place. Tell us
Yeah, I
about it.
do commercials, excuse me, commercials, corporate stuff. I've been doing a lot of tour guide stuff with a company called Shaka Guide, and that's pretty much it. That's kind of it in a nutshell as far as what I'm doing now.
I've worked with Moose quite a few times. His voice is amazing. One of the great things that I find about working with Moose is that he takes direction so well. When he reads a script, you can say he needs to slow it down or speed it up or whatever it is, and that direction happens very naturally with him, which is a great benefit. Something all voice actors should strive for, no doubt.
It's probably because you're yelling at me all the time, David.
Client needs it this way. Client needs it that way.
Slower.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
He is really a terrific talent. His voice is great. Yeah, it's a great quality studio. And Moose, thanks for that quick bio. And about 3 or 4 months ago, this email came to me, which caught my attention from Eli, and voice actor who I was unfamiliar with. So yeah, Eli emailed Edge Studio, as a lot of voice actors do, looking for work from us. And his email caught my attention. Yeah, Eli had some serious work in his portfolio. Eli, either you've made up a whole lot of work or you've done a whole lot of work. I'm guessing the latter.
Yeah, the
Uh,
latter for sure.
yeah, tell us a bit about you and your background in voiceover.
Surprisingly, I've only been in voiceover for about 4 years. I started just right before the pandemic hit. I really haven't had any formal training before that. I've always wanted to do voice acting. I just never really got into it. It literally started on a blue snowball, and then I just went from there. Um, I do mostly video games, animation, anime. I'm trying to do a lot more commercial now, but I haven't done a lot of that actually, so it's harder for me to break into that right now. But I'm working my way around that. But yeah, you can see me all over the place.
And that's one of the interesting things about voiceover, right? Because there are so many different styles, so many different genres in our industry. And being exceptionally talented and skillful at one does not mean that you can just walk into another genre, right? And get that work.
Yeah, it's
They are,
difficult.
yeah, it really is. It's a combination of confidence for different genres. It's a combination of understanding how to market yourself in different genres. It's a difference of knowing even how to read scripts and take direction from clients and act professionally for different types of clients in different genres. So there's kind of a whole different world to learn. Occasionally, I come across voice actors who are really working in a large variety of genres, and that always impresses me. It's really hard. I mean, they're each so different. Um, so anyway, Eli, the amount of work you've done is super impressive. Moose, your work is always impressive. It is fabulous to have you two on. Before we get going, I have two things. One, my younger son, Harrison, is here, and he wants to say hi to everyone. I'm going to let him on. He has narrated some audiobooks, guys. You wanna come on?
What?
Yes.
Oh, hey, Harrison.
I'm going to,
Hi.
It's a tour
yes.
of Harrison's studio.
Yeah, he's narrating audiobooks now, which is so cool.
Good for you.
That is really cool.
Do you like
Yeah.
doing it?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
What
I get
books
free
have you
work from
done?
my dad.
I'm sorry?
And I get free work from my dad.
Yeah, I'll bet you do. You got a good coach there.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you take direction well?
Eh.
He doesn't need that much direction. He does some amazing characters. He
Oh,
walks around the
really?
house like just I don't know, crazy voices come out of him, and I'll say like, "Ooh, give that voice a name so we can like recall it at some point." Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Smart.
Very cool.
awesome.
Good
Hi.
job. Nice to meet you.
Guys, before we
He's got a
enter,
gig he's got to
I'll
go
send you
do.
later.
He's off to
um,
a gig.
let's
Cool.
get into the show, okay, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Moose, let's see your studio.
Oh,
And
you want
anyone else while Moose is showing us around, please feel welcome to ask any questions you want. The idea of home studio show and tell is that everyone shares information. We can swap ideas. If Moose shows you something and you think, he should have this or he could do that, then speak it out loud or chat it, in the text. And if you have questions, I will relay those questions on to Moose. And of course, we'll do the same thing with Eli in a few minutes. Okay, Moose, tell us where are you? What kind of booth do you have? Tell us all the stuff we want to know.
It's a Studio Bricks, and I can never remember the model number, so I have to stick my head out.
What
One
kind of construction, Moose?
one
Single, double?
XXL. It's a double wall
Okay.
Studio Bricks. It's the VO edition, so it comes with the boom arm, these lights up here.
Moose, go a little bit more slowly if you can, and
Oh,
I would
sorry.
step back or zoom out just a little bit. It will be easier for us from our perspective to see what you're showing us.
Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries at all. Yeah, that's great. It gives us more perspective that way. Yeah. So double wall construction on the booth, which is super helpful, guys, for any booth. Whether you get a whisper room, a studio bricks, that double wall really makes a big difference. Why did you feel you needed a double wall?
I figured since I'm making the investment in, an actual booth, that I might as well double it up, I mean, I'd hate to get a single wall, then have to do the upgrade, because I think you can upgrade to the double wall if you need to. There's the bass trap back there.
Yep.
This is that diffusion material that they came out with a couple years ago that's like 100% recycled.
hmm
And
Yeah, it's
so
like it's jeans sometimes. It doesn't give off gases. Yeah, it's
yeah.
great. Someone no, Natasha was showcased on Home Studio Show until probably I don't know 5, 6, 7 episodes ago, and she had the double wall also. I think she was maybe she was a single wall. I'm not sure. I think it was Natasha had that same studio. It looks great. Okay, tell us more. Tell us about
I
your equipment.
This is a MIDI keyboard I use for I just do tones. Like if I make a mistake, I'll record in a track 1 for the VO, and then track 2 will be a MIDI track. And so when I make a mistake, I'll hit the, I don't know if you can hear that. It'll make a little boop, and you can visually see in the multi-track where to edit. So that comes in handy. Little headphone distributor there, little headphone hook.
Hey, Moose, slow down for a second. That is
Sorry.
brilliant. So I assume that a lot of you are familiar with why Moose would make a noise, right? So you can visually see where you need to jump to and make an edit or something. Most people will snap their fingers because it leaves a spike in the waveform, or use a dog clicker, which is quite popular. Interesting to use a keyboard and put it on a different track. A lot easier on your hand and stuff. That's a great
Well,
idea.
and it works multiple levels. I do one beep for a mistake. If I have like a really bad clear in the throat, I'll do like a beetle. And if I need to do a retake on the whole thing, I'll do a long beep. It works for me. And, I get some people do the dog clicker and the other stuff you mentioned, but I know I never liked the idea of I always got paranoid a little bit of a dog clicker being on my track. Like I'll miss that edit, and there it goes off to the casting director with like, at Menard save 20%, you know.
Yeah, so true. I love that idea, Moose. Hey, someone is asking, what size booth do you have? We know it's double wall, but what are the dimensions, your floor space?
So this is the XXL, so it's not the 3x3 interior space. It's more of a 4x7 if you're doing interior measurements. Again, I didn't want to have to. I felt there'd be a little bit of claustrophobia with just the basic model that they have. Cause I'm not small, but I'm not giant. I'm kind of like a skinny fat guy. So I want some room to breathe a little bit. And so I opted for a little bit bigger model. And that's where we are.
Okay, that might be the quote of the night. I'm a skinny fat guy. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so cool about the booth. Okay, tell us more about your equipment.
Should I step outside?
Yeah, you'd mentioned that prior to us going live. So if you want to do that and start
Oh,
with your editing area or the outside of your booth, that's fine.
so here's the 416. This is a Townsend Labs modeling mic, which if anybody's familiar with that, you know, you buy this one mic and the software allows you to emulate what about 50 different microphones. So I use this one for my character slash audiobook stuff because it's got more of that nuance. Whereas, as you well know, David, the 416 is kind of like a sledgehammer when it comes to, you know, audio quality and fidelity. It's
Mhm.
great, but you know, you don't want to use a 416 when you're doing you know, a gentle little wispy character, you know.
Well, it's also harder to do characters on a 416 because you need to stay so motionless, right? You
Right.
know, it's harder to be physical on a 416. You can't be physical on a 416, really.
Yeah. So this is yeah, so the Townsend Labs comes in pretty handy now. They got bought by Universal Audio. If anybody's looking for them, they still make them. There's just different brand. It's a great microphone. I wanted to buy all these mics for the longest time, but I finally was like, I don't need to. I've got like 50 plus one. So let's see. So yeah, that's about it for inside the booth. The Yellow Tech arm that came with it. If anybody's thinking about Studio Bricks, be cognizant of what kind of mics you're going to put on. I'm sorry for the shake, everybody.
I was gonna voice of
Sorry,
God. Hi everybody, I'm here.
Hey,
I was
Siobhan, welcome.
I was
Shaban
just
and
gonna
her.
say, my darling, if you could slow your your pan. Yeah, that's there we go.
Right?
That feels a little.
So I was going to, sorry about that. Uh,
No, you're good.
the Yellow Tech arm, if you're, if you're getting the Studio Bricks and you get the VO edition, be cognizant of what mic you're going to put on there because this bad boy's like almost 3 pounds. The 416 is less than a pound. I've had issues with the Yellow Tech arm. So I've been in talks with them trying to resolve that. They've been really great about trying to fix it. I'm sorry.
In other words, the clutch is not holding. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, you know, and I've been
Yeah.
through all I don't want to get into a big thing about that right now, but just keep that in mind, you know, that there's gonna be a little tweaking when you get your Studio Bricks. Not a lot, but a little bit.
So, two questions about the booth. One, do you have lights? Did you get the lights as part of the booth?
Yeah, this light up here came with it. It's this little LED that just kind of I don't want to pull the light off to show you, but essentially it comes with these holsters. Let me get that kind of grip around the little diffuser things. It just slides on there and it stays. So pretty nifty. Comes in handy.
Is that enough?
Uh,
Moose, is that sufficient light for reading?
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. It all depends on, I'm sorry. It all depends on where you put it. I have mine up to, it's up above my right side. You mean you can put it above your monitor, you know, if you want. Actually, no, you can't. It's too wide. You have to put it on the sides.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people have the lights that came with the Studio Brick booth and supplement with their own additional lights. A couple of people have asked about the booth. I think they came in late. This is a prefab booth made by
Correct.
Studio Bricks, one of the many companies that sell prefab booths. The other question I had, Moose, did you get the ventilation system?
Yes. Yes. And there
Yeah,
it is
tell us.
down there.
This is always a question on these shows. How much can you cool down the booth? You do some long form reads, right? So you're in this closed room for quite some time. How
Yeah.
much can you rely on this thing to cool down the booth?
It's fine. It works good. Um, I have it at the lowest setting, mostly because if you get it up too loud or you crank it up, it gets kind of loud. Anybody who's had a Studio Bricks in the ventilation can attest to that. I'm cranking it up. Everybody stand by.
Yeah, we can't hear it. I don't.
Yeah,
Would your
I don't have it
416
on.
pick it up if you're cranking it?
Yeah, I think
Even that
so.
does. Wow. Okay.
Hi, Todd. Todd's in the chat. He said hi. I
Okay.
got to
You
give
are
props
moving
to
your.
Todd.
Hey, remember to move your camera more slowly, please.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we only
Um,
need a Dramamine, I think, for this. Um,
Roller
so this looks great.
coaster.
Let's see your editing area, Moose.
okay, sure.
And then after you show us your editing area, I'd like to talk about what you're mirroring to the display, your monitor in the booth, and how, like where is that being generated from, and what controls you have to run your computer system from inside the booth. But let's first start outside, if that's okay, and see that editing area.
All right. So now we're outside. What was the question again, David?
Yeah, I forgot. No, I'm kidding. I just did. I see that Todd Ellis is on. Hey, Todd. Um, everyone should go back an episode or two. Todd was on just like 2 months ago, and he was what a great studio. Todd, that was you, and that whole episode was great. With was it Sarah? I forgot who else was on with you. What a
Moose,
great
he
episode.
Yeah.
he said your editing area. He wants to see.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
editing area. Yeah, I did remember. I was kidding. And then I want to talk about what you're able to control from inside your booth, because a lot of people bring computers into their booths with them. There's a nice thing about that, right? Because you have all of your booth stuff there. You have your editing station in the booth. It's easy to do a lot of the work. But then the booths are small. They can get more cramped. They can heat up more, and so a lot of other voice actors do keep the editing stuff outside of the booth, and it would be nice to hear how you control everything from inside the booth. So tell us about this. What are we looking at now?
This is the can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. This is it's just a little editing station, and it's just I only come out here if like I've been in the booth for a long time and I gotta edit some stuff real quick because my setup in here, like it's a nice chair, but you sit on that one chair for 4 hours. I want to sit in this nice comfy orange one, kick back a little bit. Everything is essentially mirrored into the studio. They've got this port here where all the cables go into, and here's my Mac Mini, and there's my interface. Um, it's all, like I said, mirrored in there. I can control everything inside the booth that I need to, short of my actual physical levels on my 416, which is here. The sphere is connected into the interface directly. I can control that digitally from the booth. That's the booth. But yeah, it's literally I can do everything inside the booth without having to come out and mess with anything in the editing station.
So can you take us back into the booth for a second and show us what are you using to control everything from inside the booth?
Just the keyboard. Um, just that
Oh, oh,
keyboard and the mouse. It's all connected the same.
okay. When you talk about the keyboard, do you mean the synthesizer keyboard or the
Nope,
the computer keyboard?
computer keyboard.
Okay. Well, I'm not seeing that. I'm only seeing the like the piano
Oh, I'm
keyboard.
sorry.
Oh, there we go. Oh, cool. Okay, now it makes more sense.
Oh, weird.
I don't know if that was just my perspective and my screen, or if no one else saw it as well.
I'm
Um,
sorry about that.
no worries. It may just be mine. It does make a difference. It's all good. Listen, tell us about your stool. This has also become a topic of interest
I
on
know,
the home
right?
studio show and tells. Finding the chair that is quiet, that is comfortable, that is flexible, preferably that can spin so you can reach for things without, bending on the chair, because eventually the chair will make noise that way. What kind of chair have you come across?
It's just this simple kind of bar stool I got at Wayfair. Um, I didn't really do much research on the noise. It just looked like it was fairly solid and the price was right. And it was just I went through a situation with the old setup where I had this really creaky office chair, and I went to the forums and I went on Facebook. "Ooh, what's a quiet chair? I need a quiet chair." And somehow I stumbled upon that orange one that you saw at the editing station. And that one's pretty quiet. This one, maybe $80, $100 on Wayfair, and it's super quiet. I mean, I don't, that being said, I don't adjust it very often. It's pretty much set it and forget it. But
Yeah,
it's
but
got
still,
this
when you're
very
sitting in the
lovely,
chair, I mean, it
very
does.
fine faux leather. Oh, so nice and decadent.
Yes, it is really important for anyone out there who is sitting when recording. You really ought to have a chair that's comfortable and quiet. Um, okay, I'm looking at some of the questions that have come in. Well, Siobhan, you're on. Do you want to take over and start feeding us
Yeah,
some questions?
yeah,
Be
happily.
me.
Awesome. And also great use of your the iPhones. I'm assuming you were on an iPhone. Just switching out your cameras real quick. That was beautiful. Um,
Trying.
trying, I know. We still learn to master the Zoom in 2024. So okay. Nick, when you were asking about what the other hardware in the rack was, Moose, do you identify with this question?
Yeah.
The rack. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of rack stuff there. Let me switch out my stuff here real quick. Switch the camera to the phone and let's go back out there. Let's head back up, folks. All right.
The
There's
immersive
not a lot.
experience.
It's the rack here. This is my backup recorder. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Backup recorder. This is the preamp for my 416, which is fed into the interface with an ADAT signal, light pipe, that whole thing. That's it, though. I used to have, I had some other fancy equipment. I've kind of evolved into like, I can just do this stuff in the software. I don't need, an actual hard limiter or a compressor. I'll just put in a plug-in and call it good. Down below, I've got a power conditioner. Um, I tend to think that that's one of those things you need, but you don't think you need. But I have seen that. You see those numbers down there?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Occasionally you'll see those numbers kind of flutter, and that's telling me that it's doing its job. It's keeping any kind of surge or any kind of power blips from roasting the whole setup here. But
Moose,
just
why are you using a preamp for the 416 and not the Apollo?
so the Apollo, excuse me, the Sphere modeling mic, which I at the Townsend Labs, it has two inputs. It needs two XLR inputs. And for it to work, I don't want to say efficiently, but you kind of need to plug it right into the Apollo. You don't need to. I could technically plug it in here as well. I just chose to put it in there and do the 416 through the preamp. That's all neither here nor there because I'm replacing my interface here real soon. I've got a what should we call it? RME sitting in the box here. I've been too busy. I don't want to disrupt my chain. So,
Oh,
does that make, yeah, no, right. Good problem to have. And
it
these
is
are
a
some
good
IK
problem. Yeah.
multimedia. These are like really good speakers that are really cheap. They're like $200. IK multimedia. I highly recommend those.
When you edit,
Um,
do you edit on speakers or headphones?
I'm a headphone guy. And I know Todd was saying last week that he never uses his headphones. And I was kind of like, I'm taken aback by that, but
Yeah, I was
to each
too.
their own, right?
It's
But
clearly worked for Todd. If anyone
yeah,
who's on, Todd was on our show. He showcased his studio last month or
yeah.
2 months ago. 2 months ago, I think.
And quick shout out to Todd. When I got laid off, I put up on one of the posts. Excuse me, I'm trying to shut down this shaky cam here. I put up on one of the forums about like, oh, I just got laid off from my radio job, and anybody know of any, anybody looking to hire? And Todd sent me a couple gigs, and he got me some work soon after I got laid off. And Todd, I appreciate that to this day.
Wow.
He's a good
We got
boy.
we got friends in the chat and a good boy at that. Okay, amazing. Since I came in late, did you do a little bit of an intro and telling them who you are and how you ended up doing voiceover, Moose? Do we do all of that?
We
Or did you
we
just
did.
jump into your booth? Great.
Now we had a
Okay.
quick intro. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, amazing. So everyone, if you think of questions or have thoughts or feelings that come to you about the studio, we can return to those and have that discussion. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna switch everybody out and give a warm round of applause to Moose for his amazing.
Here's why we need
play.
Siobhan sound effects.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh my God, you guys! I'd like to thank the Academy and my wife, my kids. Not my kids, they're kind of annoying, but my wife.
Removed that spotlight. Amazing. Okay, glorious, and welcoming Eli to the stage. Hello. So then incredible. Eli, thanks for being with us, and thank you, Moose, and thank you. That was the first like gratitude speech we've had in all of these episodes, which is very funny. So amazing. Clearly you know what the story is, but we may not know your story, Eli. So if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of your, I'm gonna actually make you a co-host so you have the power.
Yeah, we went through this. We did a quick intro before.
Hello.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
they're
did not
done
go in
too.
Siobhan
Okay.
order. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then, wait, I'm not here, and David, you just go total like anarchy without me? That's fine. I guess I could expect that. Okay,
Chaos.
cool. You know what? We love a little bit of chaos. So wonderful. So then you're set. Do you need a second spotlight on anything, or are you operating from your just one square? Like, do you have another square in here?
I don't, but I'll switch
Great.
over to my phone when I need to.
Fabulous. Well, I'm just gonna then, since everyone knows what they're doing except for me, this was great. Thank you all for your time. I'm gonna move myself, and I'm gonna take it away, Eli.
Thank you. Hi everyone. My name's Eli. I've already introduced myself. Don't know why I'm doing that again.
Yeah, well, as I said before, when you first marketed yourself to our studio, something everyone should know, it's hard to come up with an email that really grabs attention. Eli's did, and we got to talking, and eventually now here he is. So yeah, let's see your booth. Let's see. The colors look great in the background. Let's show us around.
All right, I'll go ahead and switch over.
All right. Can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. Okay, let's try to camera here. Go sideways. So this is my booth. This is actually my desk where I record at. I also sit, I do not stand. I got dual monitors over here.
Wait, Eli, sorry to interrupt. I'm surprised to hear you say that you sit because you do so much work, voiceover work, that generally voice actors would stand for. All that animation work, all that video game work, you're so expressive. Everything I've heard from your demos and the work you've done is so expressive. You're sitting for all of that?
Yeah. I
Wow.
used to stand for a little bit, but I've over the years I've preferred to sit. And I know what you're gonna say, because I was actually the whole time that Moose is talking about chairs and you were talking about squeaky chairs. I need a new chair because my chair is squeaky. I actually have to sit pretty still, but I am very, I'm very, I use my hands a lot in the booth. So I don't know. It's definitely a problem that I've had to tackle.
So let me interject. Last week, Edge Studio, we sent out a newsletter to the community saying, tell us your favorite chairs because so many people are struggling to find the perfect chair. And we actually expanded the survey. We asked everyone, what chair, if you've come across a chair that is great for recording, let us know. If you've come across a desk, whether it's a sitting or standing desk, that's great for recording, or an auxiliary light, or any sort of accessory. And we've gotten some amazing, amazing emails back. People have like really shared a lot of information. We are tallying all of that later this week, and we'll release it to everyone. So if you're looking for a chair, yeah, probably by early next week, we will send out an email with some information to all of you who are on. If you have come across some accessories that are great, that you feel strongly about, and you're willing to share it, which this is all about right tonight, then email training@edgestudio.com. Again, training@edgestudio. And just write out, yeah, this chair is amazing, or this light, or this microphone stand, anything that's an accessory that you think is terrific. Okay. I just wanted to put that in there. Eli, so yeah, you dual monitors. Pick up, please, where you were.
Oh yeah, so I got dual monitors here. I do all my editing in the booth. Keyboard, everything is wired in. I have everything running down with USB extenders or really long HDMI cords. They go into the corner of my booth over here, and then my computer is actually on the other side of this wall.
Your visual is frozen.
And yeah, so I do everything in here, which means it does get hot in here, but I do have let me explain. My booth, actually, I guess I should step out here real quick. My booth, I built it with my dad. It's actually a custom built booth. It's sheetrock, or sorry, it's a drywall. It's called Quiet Rock drywall. It's a little expensive, but it has some extra sound absorption. And then there's a panel of plywood, which is on the inside, and that's where all the foam is attached to. This booth is 8x5, and then it's 8 feet tall.
Oh, great size. Wow, terrific.
And I have paneling all along. Some of it's fallen. I actually use Gorilla Glue on the paneling to keep it intact, which works pretty well on the sides ceiling. Yeah, as you can see, some of it's a little, some of it doesn't quite stay, but honestly, that does help a lot with the sound dissipation with it being uneven.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah, but yeah, I sit. I'm definitely in the market for a new chair. I like the gamer chairs. They're very comfy, but they squeak when you get a little too animated, and I tend to do that a lot. My mic here is a TLM 103 in Neumann, and then my interface over here is an Audient ID4, and that's all I got. And I got my cans over here. These are pretty nice. I think they're Sony MDR 7506.
Yeah, that's a great series, everyone. That's a professional grade series, which means that the frequency response is flat, which is really, really good for any voice actor to work off, meaning that the headphones are not trying to make the sound better. They're actually playing back the actual sound. It's not enhancing it, which is good for you to know. You need to know exactly what you're giving your clients. Something I forgot to ask Moose, and Moose, I'd like to know if you can come on for just a moment. Eli, what software are you using? What DAW are you recording to?
So I use Adobe Audition. If I'm doing music stuff, I'll use FL Studio, but Adobe Audition for anything voiceover.
Okay. Let me, Eli, just jump back to Moose for a second. Moose, what DAW do you use?
I use Reaper.
Okay.
It's I used to be Adobe Audition when I worked in radio, and Reaper was like the most kind of close to that feel and workflow that I found. At the time, they didn't have a Mac version, so I had to get Reaper, and it really filled the void when it came to getting a good DAW.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people use Reaper still. It's been out for a
It's
while.
great.
Same with Adobe, but yeah, Reaper, I mean, is I think probably its most well-known attribute is the punch and roll ability. That's nice.
It's just loaded with bells and whistles. A lot of it you don't need, but a lot of it's very helpful, and it's really easy to use. And sorry, go ahead. By
No,
the
that's
way,
okay.
Austrian audio headphones. These are awesome.
Oh, Austrian level. That's Austrian level, did you say?
Austrian audio.
Audio. Okay. Fabulous. Eli, continue on, please.
So I have mic stand. It's kind of hard to see. I don't have a lot of light over here. As you can see, my only light is up here. I still do have little strip lights up there. They're multicolored. You can change the lights, but I stopped using them because they were it felt like I was in a club. It was just mood lighting, basically. Yeah, I have pretty much everything in my booth. So I do everything in here. I edit, record everything. I do have I'm not going to show you this because it's a little messy with all the cabling, but I do have outside the booth over here, I have my computer, and then I have an additional setup over there that I when I first made this booth, planned on using for just long form like editing or maybe streaming or anything that I didn't want to be in the booth the whole time because I wasn't sure about temperature. But honestly, I have to turn the AC and stuff off because I have, again, my AC, the vents literally hooked up right there. So if the AC is on, I mean, the Neumann picks up everything. So I cannot have the AC running when I'm recording. But it's still pretty ventilated in here normally. And I'm in Virginia, so it can get hot and it can get cold, but it's usually not too bad.
And the work you do, how much of that is long form?
Sessions usually go for about, it depends, but I mean, on average, about 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. I know when I was recording for the anime I'm in, those were about 4 hour sessions because I was a lead and we were just going through it as quick as we can. So
How are you connecting? What software do you use?
Source Connect, I know now I use Source Connect now at the time, but now I think it's Source Connect Nexus. It's basically the same thing. They're just calling it something different, which it's a very good software. It has its bugs, but it's what everyone uses. So
Can you do playback in your booth? So if a client wants to hear something back, can you play it back?
um, usually a client will ask for me to record on my end through Adobe Audition, so I could play it back, but
Well, so
I
wait, let me
sorry.
step back. So when you are recording, do you have when you're on Source Connect, is that
Mhm.
a voice director or a client? Who is typically on?
Typically, it'll be the voice director, and then sometimes, well, obviously the engineer is going to be on there.
Okay. And are they asking you to take choice takes perhaps and bounce them to a different track, or are you sending them full files when you're done, full recording sessions?
Uh, I have only ever sent full sessions when I have recorded. Usually, it's just they're taking. I've had two ways. One where they're like, "We're going to take your takes and we're going to sync them with your long form whole Adobe Audition wave file," or sometimes they'll use the Source Connect and they'll just have the backup wave as just backup in case something wonky happened on Source Connect.
Okay. I mean, usually that's how Source Connect is, right? The client or the end user is going to record, but yeah, it sounded like you were recording there. Do you read to picture? Do you sync or dub?
Uh, yes, that is not a majority of what I do, but I have done a lot of ADR for anime and some animations.
Okay. That's tough. That's tough work for a lot of voice actors. How did you gain that skill?
Funny enough, when I started doing voice acting, I kind of fell into a group of really, really nice voice actors. We were all like really new at it, and one of them started doing directing, and they got really good with Pro Tools. And what they did is they would get us in a call, and we would just practice dubbing like ADR for stuff for animation, video games, anime. It was extremely useful because as soon as I got into a class for it, I mean, I was like miles ahead of everyone else, and it was easy to just be like, hey, like, because I mean, I do stuff for him all the time, so he just be like, hey, I'd like to, can we just do some practice? And you get in, and we do it over Zoom, where he has the video on Zoom, and then I'm going through and just dubbing it. He's recording it through Zoom. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just practice, and then he's syncing it to the track and then playing it back and everything. Essentially, like we're just doing a live session.
So are you used to reading with the three beeps up front?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Oh, good for you. So tell us a fun place or a few fun places we can hear you.
Uh, you can hear me. uh, um, let's see. I'm in a movie that they only aired it in specific theaters, but it's on I think Amazon Prime. You can mostly hear me on Amazon Prime for movies and animation and all that. Warrior King, I'm a lot of background Wallops voices, Fire in His Fingertips, an anime. And then for video games, a lot of them that are in early access, but Dragonair is a big one. I'm a lot of characters in that. Let's see, what else? What else am I in? It's always really hard to think about what you've done.
No,
on the
it's
spot.
okay. On the spot.
That's all
Yeah.
great
I've
stuff that you've just said. I know a bunch of that. What about music? So, are you writing scores for any of this? And Moose, you're also a musician, I think. Yeah, Eli, you mentioned recording, right? You're recording voiceover to Adobe, but music to another DAW. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, I use FL Studio normally when and honestly, I would not call myself a musician. I just like to do covers and stuff. So I'll just play around with FL Studio and do covers on there.
Okay, so is your music not being incorporated into voiceover? Are you not the soundtrack of anything, for example?
No, 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 no. I
Oh,
don't make music. I just sing over top of instrumentals and whatnot. So
okay.
I have done the intro to one of the animes I was in, but that was a them decision. They were like, "Oh, you can sing? Okay, yeah, let's get in the booth and do that." I was like, "Okay."
This is great. Tell us about all the little characters up front here that we're looking at.
Oh, oops, sorry. Oh, I love JoJo. So most of these are actually, yeah, all of them are JoJo's Bizarre Adventure characters. One of my favorite animes. That's a dream of mine to be in a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, what a very fun space and a really nice
Yeah.
space. Great size. Let's see if anyone has any questions for at this point for Moose or Eli. Any questions out there?
I was gonna ask Eli, you said you and your dad built this space. Did you like completely build it? Was it a very tall closet? That looks very tall right now, but like was it another room before, or did you make a room out of a room?
Oh, also that's important. I'm in the basement, so I don't have a raised floor or anything because I don't have to worry about people under me. I own the house, so uh, actually, yeah. Let me show you because this is actually my dad's idea, and it was smart as heck. Because um, it is hard to show you. It's from the inside, but basically the. Uh-oh. Okay, we're still
Good
here.
save. Good save.
Sorry. Basically, these. I think I could take this off. So basically, these the plywood is actually nailed down to the floor, and they're basically just like metal brackets. And then yeah. So this was not a room at all. This is actually completely open right here. So we just laid up the walls, bracketed them together, and then painted over and everything.
From scratch. Incredible. You're getting a lot of compliments in the chat. It's a really beautiful space.
I
Yeah,
have
the
four
foam
cats.
4 cats. Okay. Yeah,
That's
and the foam
important as
looks
well.
pretty thick. Is that 2 inches? Is that 2 inch foam?
I believe it's 2 inches. Yeah, it's 2 inches.
Okay, that's a great thing to have, anyone. Most people go with 1 inch foam. I mean, it's significantly less expensive. Probably by 50%, right? If it's half the foam. But that 2 inches can make a big difference, especially if you have a booth that has some ambience in it, a fair amount of ambience, or if your voice is deep and powerful, the 2 inches is quite nice.
So Eli, is that wall right there? It might be your right. Is that the original? Is that the wall of the room itself?
So
You know what I'm
that was
saying?
actually an interesting problem I had to do because this house, I will show you real quick. this house. Oops. I keep turning it off. Sorry. This house has a little lip over here where the wall is, and that runs all the way there and all the way on the other side. So we actually had to cover that up. So I actually think that helps quite a bit having the it's hollow on these. Sorry, it's hollow on these two walls. I think about to here is the actual wall, and then we have plywood put up over this whole thing, so it's flush.
Cool.
Am I
Wow.
explaining that well?
No, that's great.
No, yeah.
And someone just asked an interesting question. They wrote, "I have a mattress topper that is probably about 3 inches. Has anyone ever used using something like this in the studio?" Yes, I have. Uh, I've heard of all sorts of things, and I'm sure many of us on this call have heard of all sorts of things, from moving blankets and sleeping bags and pillows and couch cushions and mattress covers and mattresses. And I will mention that probably 5 or 6 episodes ago was a story of 4 kids, 4 siblings, who all do voiceover. I think at the time they had recorded 1,200 projects. These 4 kids, they began during the pandemic, and the dad, Chris, gave a tour of the studio where the kids work, and that studio is completely lined with the kids' mattresses. When they got into voiceover during the pandemic, the dad took the kids' mattresses. 4 kids, you have 4 mattresses, or I think with box springs, you have 8 things, and just laid 6 of them out in a circle and put 2 on the ceiling. And that is honestly one of the best sounding studios, because with the mattress, you're talking a foot of solid foam and whatever's inside that mattress. So you can honestly use anything that absorbs sound. That is the goal of for everyone. Whatever it is that will absorb sound is good to is great to use.
Yeah, clothes are actually amazing, especially in a closet.
Oh, it's fabulous. Yeah.
My
Laying
my
all the
first place was
sweaters and
like
stuff
that. It was
folded up.
very
Yeah.
good.
So,
So,
oh,
oh,
yeah.
Siobhan, you
Oh, I
probably
was
had
just
the
gonna
same
say,
question.
yeah, yeah. Well, or this, I have a more general statement, but if you're gonna ask another question, David, I think now's your chance.
No, my question was if anyone else has any other questions, as we're nearing the end of
Amazing.
the hour.
Yes, and as people percolate on that, I'm gonna just remind again, I've seen some more questions of very specific things regarding exact gear they should get and what kinds of things they should definitely have at their first space. And I just want to say again, the purpose of these events is to get some inspiration, ideally, and to see other people's environments. But even that may not necessarily mean that you are doing exactly what these folks are doing. Moreover, this is being recorded, and so if you are you can watch this on YouTube and you'll get their gear, like the lists of gear, like, oh, I missed all the lists. Like you can watch it on YouTube when we publish it later this week.
Yeah, it'll be
And
well on
now,
our webpage, our home studio webpage. Siobhan, what's interesting, I spoke with a voice actor this morning. She's been a pro for quite a long time, and she had never watched the show until this past week. And I had a session with her today, early this morning, and she said she'd watched 4 or 5 sessions, 4 or 5 episodes rather. And she said, I said to, oh, she told me that she'd watched these sessions when we got on to a recording of a script. And I said, what did you take away from that, from each one? And she said, my biggest takeaway was that there's no right way to do this, that you can be
mm,
creative. And that's what we've heard from other
mm,
people. Yeah. So you guys like take these shows in and learn that like you can be creative about the way you put together your booth. And I feel like the more episodes you watch, the more ideas you'll have in mind, and pick up an idea from one person and someone else and make a space that works for you. That's so important, to have a space that's comfortable for you, standing or sitting, more light, less light, whatever JoJo's around or not JoJo's around, whatever is going to work is what you need to do. And so you
you
get
have
your
to have
best
that
performance.
many of them. You need to have like 8 of them. Like if you have 7, it's not good.
I really love
Um,
that show.
but
Eli,
I
I
will
hope, I
say,
hope, I wish you well getting onto that show one day. I've heard your
let's
stuff.
let's all
You have the
manifest that.
ability
You
to do it.
deserve it. Yeah, you deserve it. And I do. And as Moose said, as long as it sounds good, right? Like I feel like if that thing seems ridiculous, but you sound good, like ain't nobody can like knock you for it. So it truly is up to you. And I felt the same thing, Nick. Sorry, kids are sleeping on the floor now. That's what happened in that household. he gave away their mattresses for the sake of the cause. And Pat, I appreciate, is going to keep their old mattress since they're buying a new one, which is excellent.
Oh my goodness, I see Don, you came on. Hello, Donald.
Oh, hey, Don. Don got married recently. Congratulations on your wedding. It's looked so
I'm more excited.
beautiful.
He showed us his studio a few months ago. That was even more exciting in my world.
Well, they're both good
They're both
things,
exciting.
David.
You should all
Yes.
watch Don's studio. Oh, what a great tour that was, Don.
So right. So with that in mind, y'all, as we wrap this up, again, because this is very much a space for seeing other people's environments and getting inspiration from what they do. That's the goal of today. And so if you are like someone who's like, oh my gosh, I just really want to figure out how I can possibly have my own studio, we do offer introductory classes as well as private coaching on with a home studio specialist. And I highly recommend that is going to be your best case if you're looking for education at this point and you're like, oh, I really want to talk. Like, it is not a waste of time to talk to someone specifically about your space in a one-on-one. It is not a waste of money to pay for that if you are new and still trying to figure things out. However, as David said, binge watching our YouTube channel, it will be a lot of me and David, just warning you, a lot. But there are amazing guests like the gents we had on today, whose spaces you can see and learn all about, and hopefully, yeah, gain inspiration and insight, as well as I think my thing is like the ability to like know you can do it, and like to hopefully our intention is to allow you to be less overwhelmed by all of this work. So I'm including a link as well to consultations. Art Bruder is a hoot and a holler, a magical and very fun person here at Edge Studio, and he is our home studio specialist. So that link is in the chat as well if you are someone who's looking to book a one-on-one here with us at Edge. And so that being said, David, am I missing any other upcoming announcements, etc., about what's going on at Edge?
No, I agree. Art is terrific. If anyone does have questions, reach out to Art or reach out to our studio. We can get you in touch with Art. No, I want to really thank Moose and Eli for taking us into their space, spending time with us. Um, it's great this idea of swapping, sharing information and ideas and tips and stuff. It's so wonderful to see the community come together. Moose, it was great to see your studio again. Eli, great to see your studio for the first time in real life here. And guys, I wish you both super well. Um, yeah, we have like 2 minutes. Any last minute questions, anyone? And by the way, also, if anyone does want to showcase their own studio, get in touch with us. Just send us some photos of your studio, and we'll be happy to consider you for an upcoming episode. I know that we have the next quite a number of episodes are already scheduled out. So if you are planning on wanting to show off your studio, let us know now so we can get you scheduled. It will be, like I said, quite a number of months from now, but get on the schedule now if you want.
I love it. I love it. Like, we'll consider you. We really will. May 7th. We are the first Tuesday of every month. So May 7th, which was just time just continues to fly. It really does. But so we'll see you then, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And otherwise, yeah, I want to extend my gratitude. This is a donated gift to the community, meaning Eli and Moose jumped on here out of the kindness of their hearts and their own time as voice actors, and we really appreciate you doing that and contributing and giving back to our community and being here with us. You're both wonderful. I'm so glad I snuck in here and got in and got to see everyone. Much love, and thank you again for your time, and we'll see you next month, everybody. Happy spring.
Bye, everyone.